And joining us now at the Bloomberg Google Hangout at the U.S. Africa Business Forum is Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, a Democrat, the chairman of the Africa Subcommittee on the Foreign Relations Committee, and also, I'm told, an appropriator, the State and Foreign Operations budget, which takes care of all of our diplomacy and development dollars. Senator, I wanted to ask you, I know you've done some work on promoting U.S. Africa relations in Delaware, not just at the federal level, but back home. What do you hope to get out of this conference?
Well, we've had an annual conference now 3 years called Opportunity Africa in Delaware. It's grown from 200 people to 1,200 people. President Clinton was the keynote this year. I'm not sure how I'll top that next year. But it engaged the business community, the African diaspora community, folks in Delaware who are interested in Africa because of their faith background and their connection because of their interest in humanitarian issues, and folks who are interested in promoting U.S. exports and U.S. business. My hope for this summit is that it will accomplish all those same goals, but on a much greater level. I believe there's already been $14 billion worth of business deals announced today. I think this is the most important day of the summit in many ways because it's bringing these nearly 50 African heads of state, heads of government, one time, one place, one day with some of our most inspiring private sector leaders from the United States for a real conversation. For a lot of CEOs and boardrooms, this is forcing a conversation. What's our strategy for Africa? What do we do next? And for those of us in government, I hope it's forcing some attention on how do we strengthen our engagement? How do we streamline the process for those American companies that really want to invest in Africa and want to grow?
Well, let me ask, because this is private investment, right? We're talking about investment here. We're talking about $14 billion in private companies going into Africa, but you deal with the public sector side. And I wonder, does moving in the investment direction suggest that there's going to be less support in terms of aid? And how do you balance pushing American businesses to go in and invest more in places that a lot of the growing economies you're talking about also have risk in terms of, we see Boko Haram in Nigeria, for instance. So I guess those are two questions. I'll just stop there.
Well, I think the private industry absolutely has to make its own decisions for its own reasons, but government can facilitate that, can support that. That's why we need to reauthorize the Export-Import Bank. That's why we need to reauthorize the Overseas Private Investment Corporation so that those companies that are willing to take on the risk, make the investment, and see the opportunity to grow in Africa have the tools to be competitive with those who are seeking to invest from China, Russia, Brazil, India, other countries that are moving into Africa dramatically and broadly. 2 years ago, I chaired a series of hearings on my subcommittee about the opportunity in Africa and what we in government can and should do to support the private sector, produced a report, laid out 10 different points. Some of them have really been adopted by the administration. Secretary of Commerce Penny Pritzker has been terrific, a real breath of fresh air. She's doubled the size of the Foreign Commercial Service in Africa. She's led a successful trade mission to Africa. She's co-hosting today's day-long conversation about business in Africa.
And we thank her for that.
And she's done a wonderful job with Bloomberg of co-hosting today, and I think this begins the next phase of the U.S. Africa relationship. Some of what we need to do is simply facilitate. Just an hour ago, I had the opportunity to put Jim Perdue of Perdue Chicken together with President Kikwete of Tanzania. Perdue has been in Zanzibar for a decade, but they want to grow, they want to expand, they see enormous opportunity. And they hadn't had an opportunity to meet with the president before. He was unaware of some of their opportunities and challenges and was very positive and very welcoming. I'm facilitating 2 other conversations like that with presidents of other countries while here. This helps my state, Purdue's a large employer on the Eastern Shore of Maryland and Southern Delaware. It helps our country, and I think it helps the economies of Tanzania and of South Africa and of Nigeria if we invest together.
Is there an outcome to announce from that bilat?
That was a preliminary conversation. I'm not announcing anything. I'm just saying, as the co-chair of the Chicken Caucus in the United States Senate, Senator Johnny Isakson, my Republican friend from Georgia, Johnny and I are determined to work as hard as we can to get access to the markets of Africa and to work in partnership to grow these opportunities for Africans as well.
Is there a model project that you look at in terms of public investment, private investment, American investment in Africa where you say this is something that's really working, or even a country where you think other projects could be modeled on, or the U.S. investment in other countries could be modeled on?
I had a fascinating conversation with the leaders of KKR just 2 days ago about their first large-scale investment in Africa. It was in Ethiopia, in a country called Afroflora, that's been established for 10 years, that's exporting to the European market in the cut flower space. I had a meeting earlier today with a company that has been milling flour, buying wheat in the United States, milling it in Nigeria, and producing food products for the West African market. I've met with other folks who are involved in manufacturing in South Africa just in the last 2 days to talk about their automobile sector, which exports to the United States through AGOA. There are lots of different sectors where there is enormous potential, from mobile banking to cell phones and telecom, from base manufacturing of essential products to consumer products. Africa is going to have the world's largest workforce, and I believe largest middle class in another 25 years. Nobody wants to miss the next China. China certainly isn't going to miss the next China. They are everywhere on the continent. In my 4 years as the subcommittee chair, I have visited 12 countries in Africa on bipartisan delegations. Everywhere I go, I see the Chinese, and I do not see enough presence from American business. And I hear from African leaders that they want American business because of our ethics, because of our product quality, because of our technology, and because of our relationships. This is the beginning of what I really hope is a promising next phase in the U.S. Africa relationship.
Then we will invite you back for the next summit. Thank you very much, Senator. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back momentarily with a little bit more from the Bloomberg Google Hangout here at the U.S. Africa Business Forum.